to take this time also to thank the Chief of Police here in Lee's Summit, as well as the Major. They've been very, very helpful. All of the police officers here that are here, they are not here to intimidate. They are not here to harass. They are here to actually protect all of us. Okay, I just wanted to get that understood. Now, as far as me, again, my name is Richard Stanford, and I'm a former police officer myself. I'm a veteran of the United States Army. I've served this country proudly, honorably discharged, and I served my community in which I lived in at the time, St. Louis County. Having said that, the police department that I worked for, I was the only minority officer at that time, the second in the history of the department. The reason why I say that is because I've seen with my own two eyes some of the racial injustices that have been thrust upon black lives, black youth in particular. I tell my children all the time that if you are ever confronted, having an encounter with the police, with any type of law enforcement official, I want you to cooperate the best that you can, okay? Now, I know a lot of you are out there saying, well, Mr. Castile cooperated, which he did, but let justice prevail and let the police do their investigations and find out exactly what happened before everybody starts jumping to conclusions. I don't think that there's anybody out here that's out here to say that they hate all white people like the idiot that was in Dallas. This is not Dallas. This is a small town community, a loving community called Lee's Summit. Since I've been here in the 17 years, I have never, and I want to emphasize, never had any issues with injustices from the Lee's Summit Police Department. I think they are trained very well. I have the same training as they do. I'm still post-certified to serve as a peace officer anywhere in this state. My goal today is kind of twofold. First, I want to make sure that you, the public, the youth especially, know what to do when you are encountered by law enforcement officials. I want you to go home alive. I don't want you to get arrested unless you have warrants, obviously. You know, that being said, stay out of trouble. One of the things, if you are approached by a police officer, okay, if you're driving, then one of the things that you should do is not make what's called a furtive movement, okay? A furtive movement is a movement that looks suspicious. If you're bending down under your seat or you're trying to reach something out of the glove box, all of that stuff can wait, okay? What you should do is keep your hands on your steering wheel in plain sight of the police officer. At the time that you are detained, the police officer is ultimately the one that is asking the question. You are the ones that are there to respond to their command, okay? Keep your hands on the steering wheel until they tell you to do something else. When they approach your vehicle, I know, people say, oh, well, you just need to crack your window just a little bit, or you can ask them, am I being detained? If they say no, then speed off. You can try that if you want to. I wouldn't suggest it, okay? The reason why I wouldn't suggest that is because, A, it makes you look suspicious. B, if you have nothing to hide, then you should not have any problem with complying with what the law enforcement officials are telling you to do. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Once the officer asks you, and they will ask you, for your identification and your registration. You ask the officer at that time, is it okay if I reach into my glove box? Is it okay if I reach into my console? Is it okay? You get permission from the police officer. This way, it's going to avoid any miscommunication, okay? You guys have to understand something. And again, coming from the perspective of a former police officer, every single day, our public servants leave their house. They also have in the back of their mind that this may be the last time they see their families. You have to understand that as a police officer, a large percentage of the time, they are dealing with the scum of the earth. Unfortunately, there is some. So you also have to understand that when you are approached by a police officer, they don't know you. They don't know what you're about. You don't know what they're about. Respect is something that is actually given and reciprocated. Okay? If the laws of physics say that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? Well, for every reaction there's an equal and opposite action. If your reaction is to move quickly, like you're going to do something to injure them, then their action is going to be to injure you first. You guys have to be smart about what you're doing. You also have to be cognizant of the hue of your skin. Okay? You have to understand that for years, for decades, okay, that black people have experienced injustices at the hands not only of law enforcement, but government as a whole. Okay? There's a lot of disparity going on as far as the lack of education. Why is it that Lee Summit West High School looks like a small junior college? But then you go into the city and you see Southeast High School. Then you see Central High School. Those look the same to you? They don't look the same, do they? Now the money that was supposed to have been coming from the casino votes for us that are old enough to have voted for or against the casinos coming, I personally voted for the casinos to come here because I was fed the line that the tax dollars from the casino votes would actually go to the Missouri schools. As you can see from the example that I just gave, that those monies have not been distributed equally. If they were, then Central High School would be looking the exact same as Lee Summit West High School. If the money was distributed equally, the Kansas City School District would not have overcrowding in its classrooms. The Kansas City School District would have enough books for its students. Okay? That ought to let you know that everything is not equal. Okay? When it comes to our tax dollars being spent. Staying on the subject of our tax dollars, every law enforcement officer that you see out here, we as taxpayers are paying their salaries. Okay? Now, they are exactly that. They are public servants. They are here to help you, and they are also here to take you away from the others that are actually seeking their help if you are causing conflict. Okay? Now, I have to admit that sometimes there are people that bring things upon themselves. Okay? You can actually be responsible for your own demise. An example people don't like to hear is the situation that happened in Ferguson. There's a lot of things that people can do to Monday morning quarterback that situation. But you have to understand that law enforcement works and they have to make decisions in the blink of an eye. Okay? I'm not here to cast dispersions on who was right and who was wrong as far as the Michael Brown incident is concerned. That's in the past. What we are here for is for the future. The things that we've seen within the last 48 to 72 hours has been horrible. It's been heartbreaking. When the babies at Sandy Hook were murdered with no mercy, as a country, we mourned. We cried as a country. When the victims in Orlando for the LGBTQ community were murdered with no mercy, we cried. We mourned as a country. When you have black individuals that have been killed at the hands of public servants, for some reason, we turned a blind eye. Why is that? Is it because that we've grown callous to that? What is it that we can do to stop doing that? Well, I have a suggestion on something that we can do. One of the things that we can be what's called my brother's keeper. Okay? You can look out for you can look out for him, she can look out for him. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, or candy apple red. Okay? Right is right and wrong is wrong. There are protocols to go through if you feel like that you have been discriminated against or harassed by your public servants. Every police department in this country has an internal affairs department. I tell my children that if you feel like that a police officer has done you wrong in any way, shape, or form, the first thing that I want you to do is get their name, get their badge number, and after you come back home alive to me, let me know and let me handle that for you. Go through the proper channels to root out the bad ones. No matter if you're on a football team or if you're in a police department, you're going to have some bad apples. And unfortunately, the bad ones are the ones that actually get the most light. Do you think the media would be here like this if nothing had happened in Dallas last night? Probably not. Maybe one or two here and there. You know, but since this happened last night in Dallas, and it showed just how fed up that black people are when it comes to our public servants, in essence, murdering us. Okay? What you also have to understand is that we, as black people, have to take personal accountability of our own actions. You also got to understand that perception is also reality in some instances. Perception meaning that if you see somebody walking with their pants hanging halfway behind, down there behind, don't get mad because someone calls you a thug. If you're wearing the outfit of a thug, they're calling you a thug. If you have on shoulder pads and a helmet, is it unfair for somebody to call you a football player? Same with ladies, okay? The one daughter that I do have, I don't let her dress like others, okay? I don't care what's in style, okay? You are not going to walk out of my house with your drawers showing and your skirt and your dress up to here, because if you get called a hoe, it's rightfully so, because that's the uniform that you're wearing. So my plea to all of you young people is to have some self-worth about yourself, okay? There's nothing in the Bible that says anything positive about pride. What I'm talking about is have self-worth. Hold each other accountable. Hold the person that says, hey man, let's go over here and rob this person. Hold that person accountable. Nah man, for what? That person worked hard for what they have. I shouldn't have to be worried about going to Juneteenth celebrations or go around other events where thinking that people who look like me are going to cause me harm. You as white people shouldn't have to be worried about that either. This is 2016. This is not 1955. But for whatever reason, there are people that want to keep their heads in the sand like an ostrich. Okay? We can't do that anymore. We have got to stay awake. We have got to keep our eyes open, and we have got to hold each other accountable for each other's actions. We have got to be, again, our brother's keeper. Okay? Now, the media is here because they want to hear me say that Black Lives Matter. Black lives do matter. Black lives matter as much as white lives, as much as police officer lives, as much as Chinese lives, and all of that. Unfortunately, black lives don't seem to matter across the country. For some reason, across the country, blacks are looked as lesser than. Okay? I am standing here today on the steps of the Lee Summit City Hall to convey a message just like in 1712, Willie Lynch stood on the banks of the James River in Virginia and he gave his message. That message was how to control the Negro for the next 200 years. Does anybody know about Willie Lynch? If you don't, you're about to learn about him right now. Willie Lynch was a slave owner. He said how to control the Negro for the next 200 years. He said, here's the secret. The secret was to pit one against the other. Went even deeper. The light skin against the dark skin. That's how you had the field Negroes and you had the house Negroes. If anybody here has seen the movie Django, you will also understand that these slave owners would have their slaves fight to the death for their honor and for their entertainment. Okay? What I'm saying is that we as black people have got to get that Willie Lynch syndrome out of our psyche. Okay? It's not going to happen in 24 hours. It's not going to happen next year. It's been happening and been instilled in our brains since 1712. So don't expect for it to happen overnight. But what we have to do is we have to realize that that crab in a bucket mentality should no longer exist. Instead of pulling each other down, let's reach down and pull one another up. Okay? With that being said, when you have a position of power, black people, don't automatically turn a blind eye to the other black applicants that come there because you feel intimidated. Again, that's that slave mentality that's coming out. You go for the best qualified person. Sometimes the best qualified person may not be another black person. It may be someone that looks opposite of you. But come in all fairness. And you guys have got to understand that if you truly believe that Black Lives Matter, then you have to make sure that your life has some value to it as well. You have to show the world that your life is valuable also. So the genesis of this black on black crime that the media loves to talk about, they love to talk about Googling Chicago and seeing how there's been over 2,000 murders this year so far. That would take over 10 years of murders in Kansas City for us to equal that. That's not what we want, okay? The genesis of black on black crime started with the slave owners pitting one against the other. The genesis of black on black crime has started with that mentality, and it has been instilled over the years and decades into black society. We as black people have got to stop believing in that. The only way that we can do it is to have self-accountability, okay? You have got to be your brother's keeper, okay? Stop using all of this, that this person is keeping me down, I can't get this for that, you know. That is an excuse, sometimes a very legitimate excuse. Why is it that in the inner city, that there are food deserts, okay? Some people have to get on the Metro bus and drive and go miles to get to a grocery store to get fresh meat, to get fresh fruits. Why is it that the gas prices at 39th and Prospect are 10 cents higher than they are on the corner of Douglas and Tudor? Why is it that there are no jobs in the black community in the inner city? When you have all of those taken into consideration, then you will see that the only thing that people have to fall on is what's called survival of the fittest, the first law of the land. Survival of the fittest. Oh, I'm going to eat. I'm going to make sure my children eat. So what do? They have to take from someone that looks like them. They have to perpetuate that Willie Lynch syndrome. I'm saying today that we need to shake that Willie Lynch syndrome. That we need to be accountable to one another. I should be able to come up to my brother here without even knowing him. How you doing, my brother? I'm your keeper. How you doing, my sister? I'm your keeper. We should be able to do that as a society. If you are unwilling to do that, then you are the problem. If you are unwilling to look within and say, if I want to make a change, that change needs to start with me. If you are unwilling to do that, then you are the problem. Okay? I hate to get up in the mornings and hear about another black man being shot. It eats to my core because I know what I'm trying to teach my children. What hurts even more is when I have to get up and I see that another black man has been brutally killed from what it looks like unfairly by our public servants. I hate to get up to see that. People jump to conclusions. A lot of times they're absolutely correct. There are police officers out there, white police officers, that have a chip on their shoulders when it comes to black youth. There are black police officers that have chips on their shoulders as well. That's why to the youth I'm telling you, it is very important for you to make sure that you abide by the laws. Don't give them any reasons to pull you over. And if you do have an encounter with them, make sure that your black life matters enough that you will make it home that night.